Hey, it's Tia Carrere, and you're listening to Kino Kingdom with Britt
and Laszlo
and Rupert. Party on, guys.
Hello all, thanks for listening and welcome to Kino Kingdom 113. We were going to do a Christmas episode, but then things got in the way and none of us celebrate Christmas anyway. So we thought, well, what's the point? We did watch a load of Christmas films actually, but we'll probably just have to remember them for next year now and talk about them really far down the line. Something that is interesting though, before we do get into the films, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone, is you know what, over the years we've fiddled around with email addresses and we've got, I set up a few as like the Men Who Talk, blah, 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 blah. Well, we've now got a new email address called, which is kinokingdom@protonmail.com. So that's the main email address we're using now, just because Kino Kingdom makes sense. But interestingly, as I was going through these old email addresses, I found a load of emails, like not a load, like listener sort of letters and tips, a spooky story dating back to when we started the podcast that people must have sent in. And we just never covered them. Like they were just, because I jumped email addresses so much. So before I go into these, just a little 5-minute thing to catch up. So these people probably listening every week thinking, when are they going to read it out? So the new email address is kinokingdom@protonmail.com if you want to message us about anything. So these are quite archaic, but I'll go through them anyway. So this is a From the Archives news article sent in. It's nothing to do with movies either. Don't know why they sent it in. Sent in by Thackeray Chancer, who sent us a news article that says brown sauce hailed as superfood. Yesterday, scientists in Clydach Vale discovered that a single litre of brown sauce contains enough nutrients to maintain the human body for a fortnight. Even a single 250 ml glass covers your 5 fruit veg a day. When asked how they made this miraculous discovery, Dr. Wengleton Fowbury had this to say. Firstly, I'm not a medical doctor, but I am a doctor. That said, we ran loads of tests and that, which proved undoubtedly that honking a load of brown sauce over anything you eat will make you live at least 40 years longer. Look at Dick Van Dyke. He's still going strong, mainly because he injects brown sauce into his tear ducts on a daily basis. When Dr. Fowbury was questioned regarding his status as a major shareholder at HP Sauce, he responded by saying, "Oh, look at the time," and then walking behind a couch and pretending to traverse some imaginary stairs unconvincingly. And that's an article by Gail Waterford. And the picture's courtesy of Frederick Boone. It's just a man smiling holding a bottle of brown sauce. So thank you for that. Thank you for that,
Mr. It's finally come to our attention.
Yeah, I've always been a ketchup man, but I'll have to switch things around now. There's a few listeners' letters and tips here. Can any of your listeners guess what my favourite colour is? I'll give them a clue. It's brown. That's from Gufton Wengle in Plymouth. Gary Bosch from Oxford says, my father passed away last week. He had a massive heart attack whilst fishing. At his funeral, my uncle consoled me by saying, "It's okay, lad, he died doing what he loved," which surprised me as I had no idea that one of my father's favourite pastimes was collapsing to the floor, clutching his chest and gasping, "Not now, please, Lord, not like this." Vincent Wilberforce in Toxton says, if you say Cosby quickly and repeatedly, it sounds like you're saying because. So Cosby. Yeah, he's right. Yeah. That's Alan Flip in Shrewsbury says, can any of your listeners smell that? Okay. Bernard Toffee in Bridlington, I Want to Hold Your Hand sang the Beatles in 1964, which shocked me as I'm a fat, foul-mouthed Yorkshireman with an unpleasant skin disease. Gareth Jones in Merthyr Tydfil, if any of your readers would like to get a glimpse of the afterlife should they be consigned to hell after a lifetime of sin and decadence, simply visit Porth in the Rhondda Valleys, as it's a pretty accurate description of what to expect. Should you be attacked by a vampire, simply being cross with it will not fend it off. You have to physically have a crucifix of some sort in order to stop its attack. And that's from Mr. Alucard in Pennsylvania.
Crucial distinction.
And there's this little quick thing here. Tales of the Supernatural from Gordon Brewsby in Middlesbrough. Yesterday was my birthday, and I celebrated by heading to my local Wetherspoons pub with the Dancing Flautist. At 8 a.m., I started drinking many pints of 7.8% real ale called the Burglar's Thrust, constantly throughout the day, interspersed with the occasional shot of Pernod. Upon leaving the establishment at around 11 p.m., I picked up a large mixed kebab with cheese and all the sauces. Heading home, I went upstairs and straight to bed. Innocuous enough, I hear you say. However, this is where things get very, very spooky indeed. I woke up at around 4 a.m. with a very unearthly sensation in my body. It was as if evil, unseen forces were pushing on my skull and churning my stomach. Sitting up in bed, I discovered to my horror that someone, or something, had turned my TV onto the Babe Station channel as I had slept, and vomited all across the bed and floor. They'd also removed my clothes and scattered them throughout my flat. The mystery doesn't stop there. They'd also poured liquid, ectoplasm maybe, all over my bed, and it smelt of sugar puffs. Explain that one, scientists. So that's
It's spooky.
a spooky tale.
It's unexplainable.
And one final thing.
Did he think
Oh,
he
go on,
was
sorry.
sending it to a science podcast?
I don't know. I don't know. None of these are about films. And
We're just not qualified to explain that one. Are we?
yeah, we can't really get into it because we haven't been to university to study the occult. This one was sent in. It says movie assumptions. This is from Archie Brewer. He said, "This is my movie assumption of Stand By Me. It's a coming-of-age drama which I assume is based in Maine, as I think Stephen King may have written it in a short story collection or something, and that's usually where his stuff is set. I'm pretty sure Kiefer Sutherland is in it, possibly with a blonde mullet and someone maybe called Anthony. It's probably directed by John Landis. It's about someone telling his friends he saw a dead body, which turns out to be a fair trek away for them, and when they walk to it, they poke it with a stick and then realise they're all good mates. The Benny King song is probably in it as well, because it's got the same title. I can imagine it's quite sad and ends with a freeze frame." What a bizarre thing to do! Just like reviewing a film based on assumptions of like what you've heard over the years. Okay,
Pretty good, pretty accurate.
yeah. Does it end with a freeze frame? No, it's Richard Dreyfuss looking out of a window, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like there's a slow fade out as
Ah.
probably as the song plays. I don't know. Yeah. I'm trying to remember.
So, yeah, Archie, thank you for that. And if anyone else wants to send in movie assumptions, I quite enjoyed that. So yeah, that's us caught up on all the listeners' questions and the old email addresses. So from now on, everyone, thank you for listening. It's kinokingdom@protonmail.com. And I've talked for a little while. One of the things we were going to do, actually, is we understand that Rob Reiner and Peter Green have both passed away. So I thought we were just going to spend a few minutes just chatting about that. I'll hand the reins over to you, Rupert, if that's cool.
Just before we move on to something tasteful, I was thinking in Ghostbusters. Do you remember in that scene where he gets a blowjob from a ghost?
Mm-hmm.
They resisted like him having ectoplasm like on his crotch after that, didn't they?
Oh yeah, well, because it was a PG, wasn't it? Though I mean, that's quite him. Like, is it trousers unbuckling and then crossing his eyes is kind of on the cusp. Because like, if I watched that with my son, he would like say, "What's happening?" and I'd have to just say a ghost is controlling his eyes or something. But what? Yeah, if it actually showed him going, "Ugh," and then like putting a magazine down, that would be like, why is it controlling the magazine there and his kegs?
And he'll just have to explain. She slimed me. You know, it was.
Oh yeah, maybe using a soundbite from like another time in the film that's said, so his lips don't move to match up with it. That'll be good.
I think I remember that scene from when I was a kid, and I think I just thought he was really scared, and that's why he went cross-eyed.
Oh, like sort of like he was going to faint, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I did not pick up on the undertone. Did not get that when I was a kid. And yet, I remember being told it was inappropriate. But if no one had said anything, I wouldn't have known it was inappropriate.
I suppose, in a way, it's almost like a sequel to The Entity, really.
In many ways.
In Greece, when she said I got knocked up, I thought that meant he'd hit her. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember thinking that as well. I didn't understand. If it's the Grease or Dirty Dancing, I'm thinking of, where there's like a whole like sort of backstreet abortion subplot, which
Yes.
in a film such as that is quite odd when you watch it now as an adult. It sort of stands out. Yeah, and I remember thinking as well that
he had like a folding table and a dirty knife or something, and I was just like, I just thought, why has he got a table in the first place? I don't get it.
Why does he need a table? Is he
cares?
playing? Is he playing Magic the Gathering? Does it in it Magic the Gathering? Do they ever explain like what they're gathering?
Magic.
They probably have. That, yeah, I've not.
It can't be like Magic the Gathering of Magic. It would have to be called the Gathering of Magic, not Magic the Gathering. It's like you just ran out of ink and thought, "Oh, that'll do."
Yeah.
It's branched out into so many different IPs now that it must be quite difficult to have any kind of coherent.
Yeah, I think coherency has gone out of the window. Also, like when they make the film version, which is coming, are they going to call it Magic: The Gathering, and then they'll have to call the sequel Magic? They've already gathered, or where do they go from there?
The Gathered.
Well, I watched them. I was thinking about it because I watched the Minecraft movie, and they'd have to call the next one another Minecraft movie or a Minecraft movie 2. Like they've given it a really cumbersome initial title that kind of shafts the future ones.
I think that's because they can have spin-offs with different characters, and it'll be, Tony, the Lego Man, a Minecraft movie, or something, like they've done with A Knives Out Mystery.
Yeah, which I've also seen. I'm going to talk about.
Which I've watched too. Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
Segue.
That's one of those things that you sort of go round on, doesn't it? And it just got like 2 wheels on the bottom.
Yes. And the inventor of which died by driving one off a cliff or something, didn't he?
No, I'm thinking of the Sinclair C5. Ignore me.
Oh. Did he die riding one of them off a cliff?
He did die, Clive Sinclair, yeah. So Rob Reiner then.
Rob Reiner indeed.
Yeah.
He died and his wife did, and that was pretty grisly situation.
Yeah, I actually forgot about how he died. Yeah, that was awful.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on there, but I guess we'll get to the bottom of that eventually. But how old was he? He wasn't that very old, was he?
75, I think.
Yeah, he would have kept going, wouldn't he? Because he's still making movies. He just made Spinal Tap 2, didn't he?
Yeah.
Not that.
Have you rewatched the Spinal Tap 2?
I've not watched.
I intended to watch them back to back. I've never seen the original either, so I thought I would just make the most of this and watch them back to back one day.
Apparently
that's a good idea.
Okay. So, anyway, but really, like, I suppose the peak of his career happened pretty early, didn't it? Because This Is Spinal Tap was his first movie, and that was 84. And then the run of movies after that was pretty incredible. So you had This Is Spinal Tap, The Sure Thing, which is some romantic comedy. But then you had Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, A Few Good Men. It's a pretty good run.
Yeah.
I mean, he kept making movies, but I don't think he ever really regained that level. But it's crazy when you think about like those movies and how different they are as well. Different in style as well. Because you think about like Stand By Me, which whatever else you say about it, it was very earnest. Some would say sentimental, but it wasn't a very earnest movie. And then you had The Princess Bride, which is just the opposite in a way. It was very not grounded and very kind of sarky, and then you had something much more grown up, like When Harry Met Sally, and then horror with Misery, genuinely quite disturbing horror, and then like a political thriller, like A Few Good Men. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah, and there's like a vein of humor in a lot of his films, but then I mean, Misery has a dark humor, obviously, but A Few Good Men is just played straight. And it's very versatile guy, and also like incredible script. Like, he's not necessarily a great visual stylist or anything, but he really knew how to pick his projects in that particular run.
Yeah, it is a loss, and do you think about, like, I don't know, to compare like something like The Princess Bride and the kind of like tone of that, and how kind of whimsical and light it is, and then you go to like Misery and how oppressive and depressing and scary it is. It's pretty incredible. I don't know what my favourite would be. Probably Misery, to be honest. Probably the one I've seen most.
Not North, then. You
No,
isn't it?
weirdly, I did see North at the cinema when it came out.
I was going to say, I remember that being a story you told me before about seeing North at the cinema. Is the one with Bruce Willis in like a rabbit suit?
It's Bruce, yeah, and it's got Elijah Wood in it. I think I remember it because it's one of the few films I saw with my dad at the cinema. I remember him laughing loads and me not getting it.
Did he smell it? Did he smell of McEwen's when he was laughing?
He did, yeah. Just sat there on his phone, to be honest. In 1994.
1994.
Didn't even have Snake on it at that point. He was just admiring his 13 contacts that you could have on a phone at that point in time.
Yeah.
He was laughing as he read a text scroll sideways across the screen.
Yeah, before he clipped it back onto his belt. I would say The Princess Bride for me. Misery is a bloody good call. But like a lot of the films, like later on, got a little bit outside my wheelhouse. But yeah, I would say The Princess Bride, and I just realised that Archie Brewer in the last one, the movie Assumptions, Stand By Me was directed by Rob Reiner and not John Landis. By the way, Archie. Yeah, it's Misery and Princess Bride.
He just got.
Yeah, it's true. He wasn't.
So he's close. Yeah. He got his back on most of
it. Yeah, I would say Princess Bride and Misery for me as well.
And I'll go for A Few Good Men because I've seen that the most out of that lot. I think we used to have that on VHS.
One day we'll have to explain.
Going on there.
We'll have to explain to the younger listeners what VHS is one day, but not today, so they can live in mystery for the next couple of weeks. We've decided to do this fortnightly from on the podcast, so they are going to be much more regular, but lower in quality.
Yeah.
So yeah, and of course the other person that passed away is Peter Green, who not the guitarist from Fleetwood Mac, but the actor who terrified me in Mask, and again, not Mask with Cher and Eric Stoltz, Mask with Jim Carrey. Just to totally clarify this all up.
Which one was more scary? Yeah.
The thing about him in The Mask was that he was such a juxtaposition, wasn't he, with Jim Carrey being so kind of, I don't know, just wild and like
wacky.
And then, but he was just so menacing. It was like he was acting in a different movie.
Yeah, he kind of plays it weirdly, like straight.
Yeah,
even though
it's like he's getting exasperated by being in the movie. Like that makes it scarier. And of course, he was in Under Siege 2, which I watched recently.
I don't remember him in Under Siege 2. Does he have a small role in that?
I think.
Does he play a bad guy, perchance?
I think he is one of the henchmen. Yes.
Yeah, he's an intense man, but very memorable in whatever he was in.
How did he?
Yeah, there's a little story I remember seeing or reading about from The Usual Suspects, because he has a small but quite memorable role in that as this sort of a contact who's like a exchanger of diamonds and stuff, and he was meant to flick his cigarette at Stephen Baldwin's chest, and then when they filmed it, he flicked it and it hit him in the eye, and that's what they used in the film. So like you see the spark come off his eyebrow, and he's like, motherfucker, and he actually like was going to go for him, and the actors grabbed him because he was so pissed off, and they used it in the film because it looked so good. Yeah,
of course he was pretty memorable in Pulp Fiction as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Baby.
And now he is, sadly.
Now he is dead. It sounds like, I don't know if it's suicide. He's found lying on the floor, face down, facial injury and blood.
Who wrote that sentence?
Yeah, that is a bit strange. The New York Daily News.
Jesus Christ.
They stuck to the facts.
I remember, I think the pathologist there is Billy Half Sentence. I remember working with him on a case back in the 70s. So, right, can we talk about Retroactive now with James Belushi from 1997 or what? Someone else can dive in to kick us off. Go on.
I can talk about a Christmas movie.
Oh, yeah, let's the last vestiges of Christmas. Go on then.
It's the best Christmas movie I watched this year, although that's not really high praise in itself, I suppose. It's The Holdovers, which is on Netflix. And
good.
Yeah, and I think at the last episode I talked about train dreams, and this is another slow-paced period piece about the cruelty of time and the need for human connection to get meaning and purpose. But this is actually really good and funny and emotionally engaging. It is from 2023, and it's from Alexander Payne, whose last film before this was Downsizing in 2017, which I actually thought was quite underrated. But he's still best known for Election and Sideways and About Schmidt.
I'm going to say, because he's bringing back Paul Giamatti then for this.
Yeah.
It's
set in 1970, and Paul Giamatti plays a curmudgeonly classics professor at a boys' boarding school, and everyone hates him, which is instantly funny anyway. But he's a real smart ass who gives really brutal grades and quotes Latin to win arguments. And he's not leaving the campus over Christmas because he's got no friends or family. So he's responsible for the holdovers. They're the people who aren't going home for Christmas, basically. And they're whittled down. It ends up being just this teenager, Angus, with these hellish parents, who's been booted out of multiple schools, and Mary, the head cook, whose son recently died in Vietnam. And yeah, it's basically about the misadventures of these incompatible, slightly broken people trying to get along and learning about each other over Christmas, and they're gradually breaking through the professor's icy exterior. I like how it's set in 1970. It's sort of this time of immense like social upheaval in America, where they're just stuck with each other in rural New England, just totally cut off from anything relevant. It could have been a really maudlin, serious, and sentimental movie, but it's actually a dark comedy, as I suppose you'd expect from Alexander Payne. They deliberately changed the period to separate it from Dead Poets Society, because the book it's based on was set around the same time.
I was wondering that because it's very similar. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Most of the humour comes from Paul Giamatti's character's complete inability to relate to people. Like they'll be talking about Christmas turkey or some simple life pleasure, and he'll just start cracking out the Latin or giving a lecture on hedonism. It's just funny watching him. And there's a running joke. He's got like a glass eye or a fake eye, and there's this running joke about how no one could tell which one is the fake one. I don't know why I found that so amusing. Anyway, it's very much an Alexander Payne movie, very dry, cynical, and definitely not lol out loud, but also quite earnest and grounded. And I think secretly it's a bit of an understated gem of a Christmas movie. I don't know whether it's thought of as a Christmas movie, but it's very
is it ultimately sort of uplifting, or?
Yes, because yes. Well, I don't want to give away the ending, but yes, it's in a classic Alexander Payne style. It has a very emotionally resonant final scene, sort of thing, which feels well earned, but also it's kind of hopeful. It's a nice touch of hope. Yeah.
Can you both go on the holdovers page for me on Wikipedia?
Sure.
And don't click it, but hover over Paul Giamatti's name, okay? And then I think he's managed to get hold of a genie, rubbed the lamp, and said, "I want to look like a thumb." Because if you click on Paul Giamatti's page on Wikipedia, you will see that his dream has come true.
He does look like a thumb that's had his face superimposed onto it.
Yeah, he needs hair, like somewhere on that face. Yeah. He needs hair. But yeah, he's a wonderful man and a wonderful actor. So we tease. Anyway, he's minted. So fuck him. Laszlo, do you have you got a Christmas film, or is it going to be some giallo film?
I don't have any strictly Christmassy films. No, I watched Wicked, which has singing in it. Does that make it Christmassy?
Or
the first one of two? I'm a bit behind. If either of you watched this one,
I feel like this is something.
No, I haven't seen this.
It wasn't my idea, but I didn't mind it. So, is it really worth explaining the plot to this?
Suspense is
It's a
killing us.
prequel to the Wizard of Oz that charts the relationship
You can
between
speak now, Laszlo. You don't
Galinda
have
or
to.
Glenda, I'm not sure, the Nice Witch, and then
Remember,
Elphaba, the
you
Wicked
remember
Witch of
vocal
the West, who
cords?
at this point in time
Remember the
is
vibrating sounds
nice.
come out.
It's kind of a
Talking, I've heard
one of
it
those things where
referred to
she's
as it.
going to get
I
turned
don't,
evil
I
through
don't use that term
prejudice
myself,
because she
obviously.
has green
We don't want
skin.
to bandy
So
these
it's a bit
terms
metaphorical,
around
etc.
willy-nilly.
And it's these two witches meeting in Oz
Something we've
Wizard
enjoyed for
School.
at least
And
25 years.
Oh,
what was that?
you're back. It was
Back.
totally silent for 2 minutes then.
Absolute
Oh.
silence. Deathly.
Yeah. Rupert had to
Totally.
monologue. It was a nightmare.
Oh, sorry. What did you last hear?
You said you
This-
watched Wicked, and we were waiting with bated breath, but
So,
nothing was
Wicked.
forthcoming.
Wicked, which you guys have not seen.
No.
Do I need to explain the plot of Wicked to you?
It's like a prequel to The Wizard of Oz.
That's exactly right.
Right.
And it charts the story of Galinda or Galenda, I'm not sure what her name is, the Nice Witch and the Wicked Witch of the West as they meet as younger people in Oz Magic School. Based on a stage play, which is very popular. And I gather that has then been expanded into 2 films. This is the first one, and then the second one wraps up the story. And it certainly didn't need to be 2 films, as far as I can tell, but that's what they've gone for. So this is half a film.
I went to
And,
school with him.
Wow.
It's quite long as well. I don't know about your friend from school, but it takes a long time to get going, this film, that's for sure. And only near the end do they really establish that there's any kind of antagonist and conflict and something. There's hints that things are, there's something bad going on, but you don't really know what it is until near the end. So there's a lot of waiting around and listening to songs. But and also it's like weirdly they didn't think it all through. It seemed to me. There's like it's got a jarringly confusing beginning where it sort of flashes back and forth in time, and then when it settles down, they kind of forgot to establish fundamentals. Like they're going to a magic school, and yet only the Green Witch and one of the teachers appear to actually have magic abilities, and it's kind of made a thing of that Galinda can't do magic. So I was like, well, why is she in a magic school? I don't know what else. What are they doing here if there's only one magician? Anyway, there's hundreds of other pupils there just hanging around, I guess. I don't know. But musicals are not really my cup of tea, but I didn't want to smash my telly watching it, which has made it better than some of the ones I've seen. Yeah, I was thinking of like ones like, oh God, what's it? Sweeney Todd, where they like sing conversations and nothing rhymes and they're just adding music to dialogue and it's just painful. Whereas in this, at least they weren't particularly memorable songs, but they were songs with singing and rhyming
song rather than do the operatic style.
Yeah. And it's very pretty to look at. Like I gather they built these enormous sets for real or as much as they possibly could. And it is quite remarkable when you sort of see them wandering through these things, and there's rivers and people in all levels of these buildings, seemingly real. I don't know. It's looked convincing and yet
that's good to hear.
Magical. Yeah, it looked like a cool set to go and visit if you were so lucky. I'm not sure Ariana Grande's a great actress, but she's kind of sweet natured. Comes across sweet natured. The other actress is very good, who plays Elphaba, which helped make me forget about her embarrassing social media snafu with the fan poster thing.
This is one of the things that kind of puts me off this whole thing, because those two together are a very strange pair.
Yeah. I think she didn't do herself any favors in the lead up to the release of this film, but she comes across very well in the film itself. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was decent. Will I watch the second one? probably because I've only seen half a film here, but I'll probably just catch it on streaming at some point.
The second one's well over 2 hours, isn't it? So is the first one the same?
Yeah, it's quite long considering it's half a film. And yeah, I gather they've had to like come up with new songs to pad out the second one, which isn't a great sign. But at least it'll have an ending, so that there's that to look forward to.
Okay. I'm going to watch this ever.
Yeah, unless I'm in a room where it's on, I'm never going to watch it.
I think the Christmas spirit got into my brain, and this is why I agreed to watch it. It's on
Is
Now
it a
TV
Christmas?
in
It's
the
not a
UK.
Christmas film, though, is it?
No, but it's I don't know. There's
A
something
family
Christmassy
sort of
about
fest.
that.
Yeah,
like magical spirit type thing.
Sounds a bit gay to me, mate. To be honest. Do you know what? Do you know what I watched over Christmas, mate? When I was wrapping presents, mate, Bloodfist 5 to 8. That's what I watched, and that's what I'm going to talk about now, really quickly in a TMT, which is a 2-minute taster for those newbies there. Obviously, over the last episode, I watched Bloodfist 1 to 4, with one being the 1 and 4 being the best, 2 being a retread of the first one, and the third one being a tedious prison film. So I'm just going to smash through these. Bloodfist 5, Human Target, 1994, 1 hour and 23 minutes. Don't worry about that. Don the Dragon Wilson lost his memory. He's been shot in the head. He gets shot in the head at the start. He's got this ridiculous like back length hair. There's clearly a syrup, and he's running. I wish I could show you the clips from this film in this podcast. He's running away from like an SUV who's firing like machine guns at him, and it gets to within about 10 feet of him, traveling at like 50 miles an hour as he's running in a straight line towards a gate. Then it cuts to him really cumbersomely sort of getting through this locked gate. It takes about 4 or 5 seconds, and then when it cuts back, he's about 40 yards ahead of the gate when the truck blows it open. And I thought, that's not how physics works. Quite frankly, they would have just run him over while he's pissing around with the gate, and the film would be even shorter than 1 hour and 23 minutes. So he gets shot in the head, and then he wakes up and he doesn't know who he is. But I'll tell you what he's called. He's called Jim, like he is, even though he plays different actors, different characters. He's called Jim in 4 of the 8 Bloodfist films, even though he's a different person in each one. It's like they just said, just keep him called Jim, because otherwise he'll just get mixed up. And when I asked him his name at the start, I thought he said, it's Jim Stan. And I thought, Jim Stan. That's a straight. But I realized at the end credits, it's Stanton. It's just how Americans say Stanton. It's like Stanton. And I thought, okay,
really?
fair enough. Yeah, I thought his name was Jim Stan for the most of the film.
Syllable.
Yeah. Steve James is in this film, and I know Rupert will appreciate that. And once again, he just instantly just like inhales. He just steals the whole thing. You think, why aren't you the star? When you first see him, he plays an undercover cop. You see him, he's in it's like a motel room, and he's sat in a chair with black leather, those sort of 80s, like motorcycle gloves that are cut off with the knuckles out. Sat there wearing that with a leather jacket, shades, and a bandana on, and like biker boots. And he's just his chair is facing the side wall. So when they walk in, he has to like turn around and get out of his chair. And I thought, what were you doing? Like, you're just sat in a chair with sunglasses, like looking at a wall. And there's a TV in the room as well. It's just, why would you? Anyway, so brilliant stuff, classic stuff.
Can we just have a little sidebar on Steve James?
Of course we can.
How tragic it is that he died so young, because he died at, 40 odd?
Yeah, he's 93, I think he died.
And it was 93. And you think about like the movies that he'd been in, and like how well set up he was to absolutely be at his prime in the 90s. He would have been, that would have been his moment,
Yeah.
For that decade, because he basically would have been just like his late 30s into his 40s. So he would have been the perfect age, and he was really fit, and he would have just like been an action star on the level of, well, any of them you can name really. And it was stolen.
Yeah, he's one of those people I kind of not forget about, but when I watch these 90s films and 80s films and he crops up, I just think, oh, come on. I just wish he'd had a starring role, because every time he's on the screen, he's just like grinning and just this like ball of charisma, and you think, well, you should clearly be like when you watch him with Michael Dudikoff in American Ninja, you think how do they work out who is this co-star here? But yeah, he's just like it in this. He plays a corrupt cop, and it's a silly plot twist towards the end, but it's one of those plot twists just chucked in to make something happen in the last 10 minutes, so it doesn't seem as generic as it actually is. But again, he's just brilliant, and he comes in and just like fills the room, and we all miss Steve James. And I should watch more of his films, really. I wonder if he ever did star in anything. I'll do a bit of research after this episode. So yeah, it's typical. He's lost his memory. He's trying to regain it. The way he tries to regain his memory is completely preposterous as well. Oh, by the way, in every Blood Fist film, there's a woman that he bumps into in various ways at the start that is so there to help him, and she will either turn on him or there'll be a twist involving it, and it's always a woman, a total burner. It's so formulaic. I think they're all written by Jeff Jonas and Rob Kirshner. So that's Blood Fist 5. Blood Fist 6 is one where he's called Nick in this one. Don the Dragon Wilson is some terrorists take over a nuclear weapons launch site. And he is a courier, but of course he sort of gets swept up in the proceedings when he's delivering a parcel. But of course he's an ex-special forces officer. Of course he is. So he sort of gets in there and takes them down. This also features a returning cast member from a previous film, the Kat Sassoon. Vidal Sassoon's daughter, she crops up in it. This was a generic one. This was kind of like the third one, where it's just him working his way through the base and constant cutbacks to the American military saying, what are we going to do? We got a guy in there, and this isn't Die Hard, guys. Just make a different film. And then Blood Fist 7 Manhunt came on, and 1 hour 35 minutes, where he again plays someone called Jim, but a different Jim, where he is branded a cop killer at the start. He's sort of framed, and this one is sort of him trying to clear his name, running around LA, trying to clear his name with Gillian McWhirter trying to help him. This was my favorite of the Blood Fist films, because there's not much action in it, but it is a film that if anyone listens to this podcast and they like to have a few beers with their mates, try to follow the plot of this, because it is fantastic. Every scene you think, what is he doing and why is he doing it? There's a scene in this where he's on the run, and you don't know what he's doing, because there's no like monologue. It's just him walking around LA by himself, which is great because it's just grimy, like mid-90s LA. And he goes to a phone box, and I thought, right, he's going to the phone box. He's going to call someone for help. Oh no, he's calling 911. Right, he's calling an ambulance. I don't know why. The ambulance has turned up. They've gone in the building. Right, he's going in the. Oh, he's going to steal the ambulance. No, he's looking in the back of the ambulance. He's found a wallet. Right. So he needed money, so he called an ambulance for a fake emergency in the hope that one of the paramedics would take the wallet out of their pocket and leave it in the back of the ambulance before they went in the building, so he could take the money out of it, which is exactly what happened. Good. And then, so he gets the money, and you're like, right, he's got the money, so now, what's he going to do with the money? Oh, right, he's bought a pair of sunglasses, which he probably could have just nicked, because it's like £1. Right, okay, so he's right. Okay, right, that doesn't mean anything. Right, okay, that's fine. That was just a side scene, whatever. So then he's walking around with these sunglasses on, and he got all this money from this ambulance driver he's ripped off, and he goes to sleep in a bin, right? So he gets in a bin, and I'm like, is he hiding in the bin? Is he waiting to break into a building, or what's happening? No, he's just falling asleep in the bin.
He's just
right?
having a nap, right?
He's just having a nap. So then a chef comes, opens like a fry cook kind of thing, opens the bin, says, "Get out of there, you bum." So he gets out and sort of runs off. And as he's walking off, the sort of chef puts his hand in his back pocket, pulls out a single sheet of newspaper and unfolds it, and it says, basically, Jim Trudell, Don the Dragon Wilson, cop killer on the run. And he goes, "Oh, that's the guy." And I thought that was handy, wasn't it? That you had that single sheet of paper folded up. Not like he's like reading the paper on his break and came to that page and was like, "Oh, hang on," just had it in his pocket ready. So then he's like, "Hey, get back here." So Don the Dragon Wilson runs off. You see him in a public toilet with another pair of sunglasses and changing his shirt. And then he goes out, and you see him for like a montage of him just walking through the streets of LA. And I thought, right, now he's gonna like clear his name and finally like get going. And you hear like the police go, "Hey, there he is," and he's walked back to where he was recognised minutes before. So then it just kicks off like a chase. And and this keeps happening. Like, you realise he's got no plan. They make out that he's like, this sort of ex special forces, but he just seems to just be wandering around, not knowing what's happening and doing really random acts. And it became one of my favourite films. I was wrapping presents and like I was distracted, thinking, what is he doing now? So yeah, it's not much action in it, but it's the most entertaining one. And
I like how it invites like audience participation in a way that like every scene you're having to kind of recalibrate and figure out what the fuck he's actually doing and why.
Yeah. There's no like him hearing, like in a film like this, he's not a silent protagonist, but you like overhearing someone saying, "Oh yeah, blah blah, we've got the drugs, we're going to take them to the docks," and then you see him at the docks, and you're like, "Okay, he's going to use this to." He's just wandering around, and it's just there's no clear plan throughout the whole film. It's just like they're shooting stuff, just like it's brilliant.
Like the way to get money, he phones an ambulance. So I was thinking then like he could then hire a bin service and they drop off a bin that he can then sleep in, and it's every step of the way he's got to call someone to do something that then he can jump
Call
on
the
the
cops in case they like leave some donuts.
Because he's hungry. Yeah, so it's just bizarre stuff. Like it's fantastic. And then the last thing is Bloodfist 8: Train to Kill. This is one where he's a high school teacher. Is he called Jim? Oh, he's called Rick in this one. It's all like one syllable names so he doesn't forget it. He's a high school teacher with obviously a former CIA past. And as they all have, and he's got this sort of son who's like supposed to be in college, but he's clearly in his late 70s, who is just oh dad, and he's got a full beard and 2 divorces behind him, and they're not getting on.
How did I end up being older than you?
Yeah, there's a scene in this film where he's at the start and one of the other teachers fancies him, and she walks up to him and says, "Oh, I just wondered if you want to go with me to the prom, but you're probably busy." And he goes, and he says, no, wait. I did have a girlfriend, but she died. But I've got a son, but I don't get on with him. But we never got married, so I'm single now, so I can come to the prom with you. And then the scene just cuts to the next thing, and I thought, bit of a touch of exposition there, Mr. Wilson. So I think this has got Gillian McWhirter in it again. She's playing a different character who obviously double crosses him at the end, even though throughout the whole film she saves his life multiple times and like really helps him out, just to turn on him at the end and say, "Haha, it was all a ruse." And you think, yes, but to what end was it a ruse? There's a scene in this where he goes to meet Gillian McWhirter, and they start off in this sort of high school in like LA, whatever. He says he realizes his past is coming to catch up with him, and his son suddenly respects him because obviously he's kick-ass. He goes to meet this woman, I thought it was like Virginia, this kind of wooded forestry in a cabin. He meets her, and they find these assassins find him there as well. And she says, "We need to go somewhere that they won't find you." And he says, I know just the place. And I thought, I know where this is going to be. And I didn't expect it to be rural Ireland. Where it just cuts to like cliffs and like sort of music for like a 10-minute montage, and then he turns up at a castle where a former general he used to work with, who's clearly an American actor playing an Irish actor. So he'll be talking and he'll say la data or la aluminum, and you think, hang on now. Careful now, read the script closer. And then it's just them chasing him around these sort of Irish streets. I did kind of enjoy it because you don't really see many of these low budget films in Ireland. So it was obviously just someone that managed to get a visa there, and they thought, fuck it, let's film some stuff over there. Just lots of people drinking Guinness and corrupt cops and stuff. The end sequence, I can't remember it because I watched them all back to back, but it's something to do with his son being a bit of an electronics whiz. And they if you imagine they're on a boat, right? They're on like a sort of a fishing boat, and they're about 8 feet apart from each other. No, about 12 to 15 feet apart from each other, and they've got guns trained on them. And there's a scene where the kid manages to like finagle like a grenade in the guy's pocket, and then it goes off, and in the explosion they manage to like run over to the side of the boat and like get undressed and then jump in and start swimming off before someone just turns around and shoots them. And it happens in a lot of the films where, like, I mean, you mentioned a film, Rupert, where someone like fire a gun and they'll forward roll and run at them and then tackle them. Whereas they would have just fired another shot at them. So, yeah, this was kind of the seventh and eighth one are kind of mildly amusing. It's one of the few series of films that doesn't dip in quality. Really, they're just kind of all equally silly fun. So that's my blood. There's Bloodfist 2050, which I got to watch, but that doesn't star Don the Dragon Wilson.
We got to finish the saga though.
So yeah, I realise I clapped through 4 films then, so I'll miss a few rounds now. But
they really jumped forward with the numbers from 8 to 2050.
Yeah, it might even be 2150 actually. Was it Blood Fist? I think it's 2050.
Please tell me it's set in space.
It's a TV movie set, post-apocalyptic.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah, and there's no one in this film I've ever heard of, so I'll watch it. I'll see what happens. A TV movie, though, so it's going to be bloodless and really boring. Yeah, and yet I'll still watch it.
4x3 with booms popping into shot and all that good stuff.
Just in case you can't afford a 4x4. So yeah, Rupert, I'll hand the reins over to you. Have you watched any Bloodfist films?
Strangely not, no.
Okay.
I did watch the new Avatar movie, Fire and Ash, although I didn't make any notes, so I might leave that one for next time, or I'll try and wing it later. I'm not sure.
I watched this last night as well, and I also haven't written anything down.
Maybe we could cobble something together.
Yeah, it's fresh in the mind.
Okay, should we give it a go? So, Avatar, Fire and Ash, which is the third of the Avatar movies. It's the longest of the Avatar movies. I think it's 194 minutes. We've talked about the first one a few times, I'm sure. We've also talked about the second one, which had many issues with it, especially pacing issues, because, like, the second, pretty much, like, after the first 20 minutes, like, the next hour of that movie was just them fanning about in, like, a village swimming with whales and stuff. And it was pretty hard going. Fire and Ash, it definitely has. I think Fire and Ash could have been a really good 2-hour movie, actually, because, like, the first couple of acts are actually pretty decent, and it's all like the first hour or something is very intense. It's like a chase movie, because in this one they're still at the water village place, but they're now being threatened. Well, bloody what's his face, Quaritch is still on the loose, and he's teaming up with these fire tribe. I can't remember what they're called, but they're quite menacing and they love fire. And so, yeah, it's still got Quaritch teaming up with them, trying to get Jig Sully. And so, yeah, it's a bit of a kind of adventure chase movie for the first hour or so. And it builds up to what I think is a really cool action scene where it's like a key character gets captured and he's brought to, like, the human city. So it's a very industrial kind of setting. And there's a big action scene around that industrial setting. And I thought that was quite cool because it's something I haven't really seen yet from the series. The kind of, like, clash between real just... like an action scene where these kind of, like, natives use the trees and stuff kind of attacking this very angular metal industrial structures. I thought that was pretty good. And it actually would have been you could have ratcheted up to a point where that was the ending. That's my
totally
point.
Yes,
and
100%.
And it would have been like 2 hours in. It would have been a nice way of finishing off. Plus, you could have still had a bit of a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
but instead,
and you've got them out of their element for a change, which was what made it more intense. Yeah. And yes, I was like, I remember watching it, and I was like, right, now they all just like need to rock up and raid this place, and we're going to have a battle taking place in a new environment, and they're
Yep.
going to be, against the odds, a daring rescue mission, and that would be a cool ending. And then I thought, hang on a minute, we're probably only like 2 hours in here.
Yeah.
This is not the end, is it? This is going to be a thing, and then they're going to run away, and then they're going to fart around some more, and then they're going to have another whole ending.
Yep. And it's another
And
hour of pretty much the same shit that happened in the last movie,
yeah,
which is just a very extended action scene involving Quaritch and um, people getting. One person will get captured, they have to go back and save them, and then someone will get shot, and then they'll kind of have to drag them away. And it's like, okay, we've seen all this stuff in the last movie,
yeah, and
and it's
and they
a
got
real pity.
and it's on the water again in the same
Yeah,
place, literally the same place, and so they go, but this time they've got even bigger boats. So then they go and get bigger whales to smash the
yeah.
bigger boats, and you go, this is the same. This is the same thing.
Because this one had some. I thought this one had more interesting and wild and trippy kind of ideas in it. Like there's a
Hmm.
whole sequence near the start where they're flying on in these kind of like huge hot air balloon type things, and there's like an attack scene on them. That was cool. And there's quite a mad scene towards the end where they literally go and like have a kind of a council of whales talking to each other. It's really odd, but I kind of like that shit because it's just weird and different. I'm thinking literally no one else has the power or Hollywood clout to be able to like throw $400 million at a bunch of whales chatting in the sea. So I kind of like that stuff, but it's just such a pity that most of the money is splurged on literally the same hour from the last movie.
Hmm.
And the
Yeah, it was
same,
almost like a beat by beat
yeah,
replay of the last film, but just I did prefer it to the second one, because the second
yeah,
one I was got quite bored towards the end, and this one at least kept my interest for the most part. And the Fire Tribe are a cool new flavor, how sort of evil they are, and then you've got like the Navi guys fighting their own people. So there's who have teamed up with the humans. So then that's kind of a new angle where they kind of met their match physically and things. So that's a little bit different, but I feel like they underutilized the things that were different and leaned too hard on basically recycling stuff. Like, what are they going to do? Because if they, it sounds like they're going
mm,
to do more.
two more.
He can't just have this same sort of plot again, can he? Two
He's
more
got to
times.
drop Quaritch at some point. I love Stephen Lang, and I even love him when he's a blue man. But I think he's got to drop it. All I know is that I think the very last one ends up on Earth. That's all I know. Other
Hmm.
than that, I don't know really where the trajectory of it is. I don't think he can do it again. I mean, this one's made like $1 billion, and it'll be fine, and he will make the next two. But I think people's patience may start running out if he has
Yeah,
another 3 hour plus movie with the same final act.
yeah, and they've got a roster of bad guys now.
Right.
I feel like I'm spoiling things, to not really spoil. They don't really end things. Like, pretty much everyone just walks away. And you're like, oh, so
Yeah.
if this is the end, it is not conclusive, and annoyingly so.
Yeah.
But
I'll still
yeah,
watch the next one because it's
yeah,
done
I
enough.
watched it in 3D because I'm a real idiot, and they have done some good. I mean, as far as 3D goes, they've used high frame rate material sparingly. Like, so there's
Okay.
scenes that run at normal frame rate where there's not much action, and the action scenes switch into higher frame rate. Is my understanding of it, and they do really pop. There were like a number of scenes where I was just like going, "This is quite spectacular." I don't know what it's like in 2D. Do you watch it in 2D?
I did. Yes. And yeah, I mean, it still looks pretty amazing and probably less impactfully amazing looking than the second one, which was like, whoa, this is pretty, because of the water and shit. It was pretty
Hmm.
impressive. Uh, but yeah, and he is like the action scenes are just like another level. but they kind of get a bit repetitive towards the end because it's the same shit.
Yeah, the storytelling is again the big weakness.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a shame. And yes, and like you say, if they drilled it down into making that rescue in the city place the finale, I would have been totally fine with that. That would have been cool. It's a pity.
Have you seen even the second one?
Yeah.
I've never seen any of them, and I've no intention of it. It's not my thing, you know. I just let you do your thing, and then I was happy to listen in, but I've got nothing to add. I'm never going to watch them.
No.
What is it? Is it the sci-fi or what's the turn off?
Yeah, if it's anything that's like, I'm not a big fan of like whimsy and the fact that it's like light sci-fi. If it's the kind of sci-fi I like is where it's either really miserable or it's a bloke going mad in space. Anything else, and I'm like, I don't know. It seems a bit.
I do think the new age stuff would drive you nuts.
Yeah,
it's heavy in the second one.
I don't think it's for me. So I've never even played any of the video games, which is especially unusual for me.
Apparently, the new one, the latest one, is really good. Actually, well, I don't know. It's a Ubisoft game, so you probably just go around bloody
collecting things.
Far Cry, except you're blue. Yeah.
Far Cry with a contrast up.
Can I get Love Actually off my chest, please? It's like a mold growing in my soul. I watched this on Now TV. Made in 2003, written and directed by Richard Curtis. Apparently long after he was funny. Even by Christmas movie standards, it is loathsome. It's a collection of underbaked half stories, supposedly covering various shades of love, in inverted commas, arbitrarily strung together and overlapping in the most perfunctory ways. But despite the fact that it is a variety of stories, it's completely lacking in dynamism as well. So it's just a single droning chord of lightweight drama and saccharine sentimentality.
I thought you were about to say, but I enjoyed it. But no. We're going even deeper. Go on.
Like the supposedly sad or profound bits are just unearned, and the supposedly romantic bits come off as either just creepy or perfunctory, really. And I need to focus a little bit on the Andrew Lincoln storyline here because it's just so cynical and unpleasant. So the story here is that Chiwetel Ejiofor and Keira Knightley are getting married. Weirdly, she's 17 in this, although she does look older, to be fair, but it's still why. But anyway, so Chiwetel Ejiofor and Keira Knightley, they get married, right? It's a fairy tale wedding. All the signs are that they're perfectly happy, right? Andrew Lincoln is the photographer and the groom's best friend. So Keira Knightley goes to Andrew Lincoln's house afterwards to pick up the wedding video, and he reluctantly lets her watch it. And she finds out it's all shots of her, like zooming in on her, no one else. So he hasn't done his job, at the very least. He's just taken shots of her. So it's really creepy. And she should be saying, well, I'm not going to pay you anything, obviously, because you haven't done the job. But also, she kind of likes it, right? So that's weird. Later, she and Chiwetel are happily married, and they're just like watching a movie together at home. And then Andrew Lincoln rocks up at their door to express his love for her. And he knows it's wrong, so he brings these cards to express his feelings. So you would have seen this scene where it's like, lifting up the cards to say what he wants to say because he can't say it in words. And basically he's saying, I have these really strong feelings for you, but I'm not going to pursue it further. And it's like, oh, what a fucking gentleman. Thanks. So anyway, after that completely inappropriate, friendship-shattering act of betrayal, instead of Keira Knightley just going back inside and telling Chiwetel, like, your best friend is a creep and he's harassing me, she chases Andrew Lincoln down the street and just full on kisses him on the lips, like he's kind of earned it or something through his honesty. I don't know. And I guess he's meant to be content with that and move on. I don't know. I think it's far more likely that he would take that as a sign that she fancies him as well, and now she wants to cheat on her new husband. That's it. That's literally the end of the story, by the way. It's like, oh my God.
I want a sequel where he's like filming her through the windows of her house, and then she's like intentionally sort of dropping her clothes. Oh no, my bra fell off and stuff. And Chiwetel Ejiofor is like wandering around the house. Going, why is your bra falling off again? She's like, I don't know.
I did it.
Like, why you got the curtains open? And just go in deep. Let's get messy with it.
There's a really cringeworthy story involving Bill Nye as an aging rocker trying to get Christmas #1. It was just insufferable. You got Hugh Grant doing the Hugh Grant thing as a prime minister in a slightly patronising story about him flirting with this working class aide of his, Martine McCutcheon, who is beautiful. She is unbelievably accommodating as well, because his solution to the fact that he fancies her is just to fire her outright without an explanation. And then rocks up at her house at Christmas, just uninvited, and takes her away from the place, takes her away from her working class misery. There's a story with Emma Thompson and Alan Rickman, which usually gets the praise, because it's vaguely serious, I suppose. But it's still paper thin, and it's really just a well-acted vignette, really. Yeah.
Does Martin McCutcheon sue him for unfair dismissal in this film?
No, that doesn't happen. She just waits around for him to come rock up her house.
Well, so if my boss fired me, I would just wait in my house for her to turn up and fancy me.
Basically, yeah.
Right. Well, just as a little side note, when we were when you told me about this a couple of days ago, about you really didn't enjoy this film, but I don't know if you noticed. But when you told me about that, because I saw it once, like I think I saw it on a plane years ago, and I fell asleep halfway through it. But when you told me about that whole story with Andrew Lincoln, I thought I was mishearing what you were saying, because I couldn't see how that was romantic. I couldn't. I was like, so then she tells her husband, you're like, no. I said, what then? So then he like moves away or something? No. And I didn't understand it's like it just ends, because he's obviously just going to get more, if he's that infatuated with her and she kisses him, leads him on. That's like, if they did Love Actually too, it would be like, oh yeah, then he ends up just raping and murdering her. Because it's like that would be like, it wouldn't just end there, would it? That's clearly just.
Even if you take the most charitable perspective on it, and he is just content with, just being able to get it off his chest, then even then it's a horrible ending to it all, because it's still an act of betrayal at the very least. He's never going to tell his best friend. She's never going to tell her husband.
Yeah, it's just a double betrayal.
Yeah.
That's what it should have been called. Not Love Actually, double betrayal.
Double betrayal.
He should have come out of the house and caught him with his little fucking cards, shouldn't he? I mean, it's not on. Just because you haven't said it out loud, rocking up on her doorstep with the cards saying that I love you is not cool. Not at your best mate's house with his wife.
It takes him a good 4 or 5 minutes to go through the cards as well. It doesn't help, in all fairness. Then in the background, halfway through it, when he's going through the cards, and she's sort of like covering her mouth and like, "Oh, this is so glorious." You can hear Chiwetel Ejiofor shouting, "Can you shut the fucking door? It's fucking freezing in here."
What also on the back of the cards, he should have had like the backup one. So if Chiwetel Ejiofor comes to the door, he flips them round, and it's like just says, "Hey mate, want to go to a pub?"
How's it going? Just thought I might pop round.
I've lost my voice and I fancy a pint.
And your wife. Oh no, not that.
No, don't look at that card. Throws that card on the side.
So it's a load of cynical, unfunny, charmless shit. Just 99% of Christmas.
Well, that's all from Richard Curtis, ladies and gentlemen, as a guest reviewer.
I was subjected to watching. I didn't watch the whole film, but I watched parts of it twice over Christmas as well, because that's what happens when you go home and visit family.
Stuff,
Not my family.
Yeah. So I sat through what's his name? great actor wasted in this film.
Colin
Alan
Firth?
Rickman
Alan
with
Rickman.
buying the necklace or whatever in the shop. I had to see that scene through twice in
Wow.
over a couple of days.
Yeah, it's a good performance from Emma Thompson. I will say that.
Yes.
But other than
Yes,
that,
she's in a
there's
different
nothing
film.
for it.
Also, that bit at the end where the guy goes to America and then he meets a hottie. She's like basically a honey trap at a bar. A hottie like comes up to him
Oh, yeah.
and then says, "Oh, my friends are here too." And then he meets two other hot women, and they said, "Oh, and by the way, you got to stay in our flat, and we've only got one bed, and we're all going to be naked." And you're
So
like, "Oh, he's going to get murdered. When's it going to happen?" But
we need
no,
context for
that
this
just
because it's a whole thing, isn't it? Like where I think he's mates with Chiwetel Ejiofor. Is that right? I can't remember. He mates with one of them. That's the link. But he's going on about how he wants to go to America, pull some hotties because they love British people, and that's it. That's his plan. It's like, okay, fair enough. It's not an interesting story, but all that happens is he just goes and does that, and you're expecting there to be some twist to it, like when he meets the hotties and you think he's going to get robbed or whatever. No, he just meets a load of hotties, has sex
has an
with them,
orgy.
comes
Yeah.
back. That's it.
It's quite a horny film, isn't it? There's quite a surprising amount of boobs and stuff in it.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that is it because it's kind of the appeal is towards like sort of housewives and stuff with obviously that sort of that dated sense of, you know, there's always like, you know, like someone that sweep you off your feet just around the corner, and, you know, like the sort of taboo of extramarital sex and stuff. Do you think that's why it's in there?
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's sort of safely risque, isn't it?
You can live vicariously through the character.
Risque.
Yeah. I don't remember the scene of like Alan Rickman bending over, opening his arse and shouting "Get in" to Emma Thompson. You don't see that, do you? It's always towards the male. It's always the male gaze.
Yeah, it's so sexist.
That's where he hid the necklace from her in the deleted scene.
Pull it out slowly because it's diamond. Yeah, beginning to wish I got pearls now.
Right. Yeah. What should we talk about now? Let's talk about something not complete shit.
Who is it now?
I think it's Laszlo.
Oh, nice.
Is it? Oh, unfortunately, I am going to talk about something shit. Death of a Unicorn. Have you watched Death of a Unicorn?
I've never even heard of it.
This is a new film. Well, new. It came out last year. This is from A24, the hip Hollywood independent studio. And it marks another flop in a increasingly growing pile of flops that they released over the last couple of years. Starring Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega and a few other famous people, Richard E. Grant. Anyway, the plot is Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega is his daughter, and Paul Rudd, in probably the most unlikable role he's ever done in his career, plays like a businessman lawyer, and he's taking her to visit a billionaire in his remote mountain ranch to win the billionaire's favor and worm his way into a position of power because the billionaire is dying. So he thinks if I can win his favor and make some lucrative deal thing for him, then I'm going to get a slice of this fortune heading the next generation's way. Yeah. En route, driving through the mountains, he runs over a unicorn and for some reason stashes it in the back of his car instead of leaving it on the side of the road. But then when they get to the house, the billionaire's family are a complete bunch of wankers of a Succession style scenario. And they're kind of entertaining scumbags in their own kind of way. But what they don't realize then is the unicorn isn't dead and it comes out, but then I think they kill it again. I can't remember. But they discover that the unicorn has magical healing properties. That's how it survived from before. It can kind of cure itself. And they realize that they can harvest it for magical healing powers. So they heal Richard E. Grant's cancer. And so they immediately set about trying to work out ways that they can use this unicorn to create cures for the super rich who are dying and make even more money. What they don't realize is the unicorn they have is actually a baby unicorn, and the mummy and daddy ones are huge and monstrous and want their baby back. So then they kind of attack this compound and stab people with their horns and trample on them and rip people to shreds. It turns into a very basic, non-scary, unfunny monster movie. And by about halfway, all the satire is dried up, and it's really boring.
Wow.
And that's
I'm
about
probably
all I have to say for it,
that.
because it
Yeah.
just like it drops off a cliff, like any promise it has. But like, and all the characters just feel wasted, and yeah, you just kind of want them all to die, and it takes a really long time just getting around to killing them all. Yeah, so not very good.
A24 Films release a film every 4 seconds as well, don't they?
Yeah, and they're spending quite a lot of money on them these days. Like, so this was an expensive flop. They also had the Smashing Machine, which cost a pretty penny and made nothing. Eddington was another one. Luckily, they've just done. Marty Supreme has just done quite well. So,
okay, was that? Yeah, they are prolific, aren't they?
Yeah, I imagine they just weigh it up. Like they make cheaper ones and expensive ones, and some of them hit, some of them don't. But they do. It does seem a bit patchy.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen a few of the films that I've really liked by the A24, but this doesn't sound good. The problem is, comedy horror can be, and I always go back to like Tucker and Dale versus Evil, it can be one of my favorite genres, but when it's done poorly, it just makes a bad film you just kind of want to turn off, because if you know the comedy isn't landing with you, it usually means the horror isn't going to land with you as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, you've got to be in touch with your, I don't know, the primal things that make horror films scary, and the primal thing that makes something funny, and the instincts for this are all over the place. And people like Paul Rudd try their best, but they can't save it because the script is bad and he's playing like a dick. You kind of don't really care if he makes it or not.
How does Tia Leone look? I think the last time I saw her was in like Family Man with Nicolas Cage in 2004.
She looks all right. Yeah, she's held up well. This doesn't look like she's had loads of work done. Still kind of looks similar.
That was my worry, was the Michael Clive. I wondered if that had stepped in, but that's good to know that she actually still looks like a human being. That's always nice to hear.
Yeah. That's probably why she's not in much stuff, because she hasn't had her face stretched out to make her look, I don't know, 20 years younger.
Like she's on the back cover of Society. Can I quickly tease in with a 1997 Jim Belushi film?
Fuck yeah.
Thank you. Have either of you seen this film, Retroactive?
No.
Right. It stars James Belushi, Kylie Travis, and obviously Frank Whaley, not as an FBI agent for a change. Directed by Louis Morneau, who also did Made Men, which is a film I want to watch with Timothy Dalton and James Belushi as well, from 1998. But I watched this film when I would have been like 14 with my brother, and the thing that sticks with us most, and it stuck with me watching this time, is there's a scene where James Belushi walks into a petrol station and fires 28 rounds without unloading in quick succession out of a 6-shot revolver. And even as a kid, I thought, hang on, I don't know much about hardware, but this film it's quite fanciful. I'm not going to lie to you. It's shot in the sort of New Mexico, LA sort of desert border town, and Kylie Travis is a very unconvincing psychologist who's just lost. It was in a negotiation and the hostages got killed, so she's just driven away, and she's just driving back to a kind of hometown out in the desert somewhere. And her car breaks down and she bumps into James Belushi and Shannon Weary. And I know you both recognized the name Shannon Weary because you both watch erotic films from the early 1990s. So, yeah, she's in this, and it's obviously not an erotic thriller, but she's in it as basically a battered housewife, effectively. And the whole film is this very fanciful idea that James Belushi's this sort of abusive husband who looks like Elvis and is just a sort of, good old Southern boy. And they're driving down the desert. And the loop in the film, retroactive, it's a time travel film, is that he kills his wife, Nancy. He chases Kylie Travis over this sort of fence, and she goes into this facility where Frank Whaley has just worked out how to do time travel, and she accidentally travels back 20 minutes. And so the film is this kind of loop of her trying to save Shannon Wherry's life and get James Belushi to the cops. This film could have very easily been complete shash because it's very fanciful, but it's kind of saved by the fact it's such a tight loop. And that Emma Walsh is in it as a sort of gas station who was in cahoots with James Belushi on this sort of seedy smuggling ring. And she's just trying to try different things each time. She is not a good actress, Kylie Travis, and she just, when she sort of loops, it's like she's instantly really smarmy because she knows what he's going to say, and she just reacts not as you would if you just traveled through time for the first time. But it's good because it's so trashy. So each time something different will, or someone else will turn up, like a family will turn up in a position they weren't in before, and it confuses things. And it's just lots of like people sweating in the desert wearing impractical clothes and then looping through time, and Frank Whaley being a nervous, panicking wreck. He's obviously learned from the acting school that Leland also went to. And yeah, it's just kind of silly fun, and it ends in kind of a totally sort of satisfying way, like fair enough. And I thought, oh, do you know what? This film is actually more enjoyable than I remember, because I was prepared to think this is complete shash. And for Faye, when I was doing this podcast, and bearing in mind, although we're not going to have time to talk about it today, we watched like Transformers 1, A Haunting of Venice, a Mario movie, Minecraft movie, Knives Out 3, blah, 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 Grinch, Star Wars. She didn't watch Bloodfist. This was her film of the week. She said, like, she really enjoyed that because it was just like a trashy 90s thriller. It's kind of, I wanted to watch a trashy 90s thriller, and there it is. So it's probably James Belushi's best role because he's just a hateful, horrible man, which is, kind of what he is. Let's get down to brass tacks. So yeah, maybe actually that maybe one of his top 3 performances between this, Red Heat, and what was that one with the bloke who's in Bad Santa? I always mix up with John Hurd. No, sorry.
Oh, Billy Bob Thornton?
No, it is. His name is John something. He was in a film called Jesus. I had Bad Santa. John Ritter.
Okay.
Who was also in a film with James Belushi, Give Me a Moment, in the late 80s called Real Men, which was quite good. So it's one of James Belushi's top 3 performances. Emmett Walsh is brilliant, as he always is. And if you want to watch this, you will have to buy it in a charity shop on DVD because it is a nightmare to find streaming. But if you like 90s thrillers, trashy thrillers, this is, or science fiction action films, really, this is it's a fun one that people might have missed. If you go on the retroactive film Wikipedia page, you'll notice that there's a gun on a dashboard, and I reckon it was photoshopped there. I don't think that's how a drawn gun sits on a dashboard.
I was going to say that DVD cover, like if you're looking for this in a charity shop, you just look for the most 90s DVD cover you've ever seen.
Boot the door open, and I don't know if you know this, listeners, if you boot a door open anywhere and walk into the room, ZZ Top Sharp Dressed Man will start playing from somewhere. It always happens to me. So you do that, ZZ Top kicks in on the radio, and then you say, where's the most 90s DVD cover in the world? So I enjoyed it.
The capital E at the end.
Yes.
Excellent. Who's next?
You, my dove.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I watched The Hobbit. Not that one. Not that one. I watched The Hobbit on a German DVD, although it is also available on the Internet Archive. It's the 1977 animated version by Rankin and Bass. It's Arthur Rankin and Jules Bass. And it is a film that happened. So this is slavish to the book to a fault. It feels more like an illustrated guide to The Hobbit more than a visual piece of art. Have we lost Laszlo? This is the real question.
I'm not. No, I can hear Laszlo.
My internet. Hi, I'm back. I'm going to set fire to my house after this podcast because of the lack of Wi-Fi.
I'll just try and sort out the Wi-Fi maybe first.
Have you tried tethering to your 1994 mobile? Would that help? Borrow one of Rupert's dad.
It's still got the battery pack.
Tethering back then, you'd have to do it with some rope and
Anyway, The Hobbit. Where do we get to?
Last thing I heard was
1977 slavish remake.
Slavish to the book, yes. As I said, more like an illustrated guide to The Hobbit than a visual piece of art. It was animated by Topcraft, which is a Japanese animation studio who actually went on to become Studio Ghibli.
Well, just one thing. I have a vague, as you know, I'm not really Lord of the Rings au fait, but didn't you talk about some animated version of Lord of the Rings a few weeks ago?
Yes, I did. I talked about Lord of the Rings, the Ralph Bakshi.
Right. Okay. Sorry, I wondered if this was the same company. But okay.
It was covered Fellowship and Two Towers, but then stopped.
You also talked about the battle for Rohirrim or whatever it's called.
Yes, the War of the Rohirrim.
Yes.
This is not up to those standards, nor is the animation effect up to Ghibli standard, even though it is obviously them doing it. And there's also some really weird art design in this movie because Gollum just looks like a stoned frog, and Smaug, the mighty dragon, he looks like a fat red toad with a cat's head. And then the elves aren't the elves who are meant to be fair and wise, but in this they're just strange blue trolls with Scandinavian accents for some reason.
You sure you were watching The Hobbit and not something completely different?
Sure, I was smoking when I was watching it. Jesus, I did quite like the design of Bilbo, and John Huston makes a good Gandalf. So there you go. But it's not a good movie. It's got, well, for a start, because it's 70s, it's just constant overused incongruous hippie folk ballads on the soundtrack, which is not good. And the final battle, the Battle of the Five Armies, right, which is obviously the mighty climactic battle, is just so laughable in this. You see the armies approach like the battlefield, and Bilbo basically counts off the armies as they come along, all five. And then it cuts to this extreme long shot of like a valley and just this swirling cloud of dust to represent the battle. And then it's over. You don't see any of the actual fighting or anything. It's just a swirling cloud of dust. And then it's over, and we're just told that 6 of the main characters are dead. So it's like, okay, that's a little bit anticlimactic, guys. I think there are, no doubt there are lots of hit people out there who claim that this is in some way better than Jackson's Hobbit trilogy. To which I say, okay, guys, good one. I will concede that it has a certain like earthy vibe to it, but character-wise, it's as shallow as the original novel. And I think, if nothing else, it shows how some embellishment could go quite a long way to bringing a very simple fable up to date. So I would say this one is for Tolkien completionists only. People like me.
So that gets a fucking shit out of 10 then.
Pretty much. You know, I was saying how Ralph Bakshi made Lord of the Rings, right? And it covered the first and second books. And then The Hobbit came out. And then the sequel to The Hobbit was called Return of the King. But it was a sequel to The Hobbit. It wasn't actually a sequel to the original Lord of the Rings movie. It's bizarre. It's so bizarre how they did it. But anyway.
After 6... Oh, God, sorry.
Is this a new... I missed the beginning. Is this a new cartoon, or
No, this is from 1977.
but by Studio Ghibli? Oh, I didn't realize they'd
Well,
been
it's
around
by
that long.
Topcraft, who became Studio Ghibli. So I guess they would have gone on not long after this to do Nausicaa, The Valley of the Wind. They probably did something else before that, but
Topcraft it's a shit name for a company, an animation company, isn't it? It just sounds like someone makes model airplanes. I tell you what I've noticed after 6 years in the business in this podcast with you, Rupert, is that we do watch markedly different films sometimes.
Did you get this on 4K and stuff as well, Rupert? Or from a German seller?
I managed to get the German DVD.
Straight to Germany.
Yeah. I don't think it's available in the UK, but you can watch it on the Internet Archive if you don't mind a bit of like
pixelation,
pixelation and bad syncing between the sound and the image.
And that's on a decent internet connection. Imagine watching it on mine. It'd be like 3 pixels just chasing each other around.
It'd be like watching a silent movie, then listening to the audiobook.
Yeah, it's watching a silent movie on like a projector with like whilst winding a gramophone at the same time. God. Oh dear.
So not a hidden gem. We should just leave this alone.
It's no Bloodfist 7 then.
No, it's not. What is? Bloodfist 8.
Laszlo, we pass the flaming baton of judgment to you.
I'm going to go back to something good. The Big Easy. Have you watched this film from 1987?
I've seen The Big Hit, but I assume this isn't that film because it's got a different title.
It's not The Big Lebowski or any other big thing. Big. It's not big. Anyway, The Big Easy refers to New Orleans.
Oh, okay. It's not the one with... I saw Dennis Quaid, but does he hide behind a fridge in this film?
There is a very funny scene involving a fridge.
Oh,
he doesn't hide behind it. I'll get to that. So this stars Dennis Quaid and Ellen Barkin, Ned Beatty,
Beatty, I think it is Beatty.
Ned Beatty, isn't it? John Goodman is in this, and he just hangs around in the background in scenes. It's quite weird. It's clearly before he was a prominent figure. And this is from 1987. So Dennis Quaid is a New Orleans cop of many generations who thinks he's a good guy, but just kind of rolls with the systemic corruption in his police department because that's what Daddy did and his granddaddy did and all that sort of thing. But then he meets whiter than white assistant DA Ellen Barkin and immediately falls in love with her. And she leads him to question whether he should rethink his moral standards whilst they're investigating the same case. Or is she there to maybe investigate him and his corrupt chums, as you don't really know? And there are some very funny scenes in this film. Highly questionable accents, especially Dennis Quaid, which makes it feel like everyone is overacting, which gives it an almost comedic tone, even though I don't think that was intentional. And Dennis Quaid's smile has also never looked more freakishly angular than it does in this film. He's lean as fuck. There's a number of scenes where he's topless and he's just like muscles glued onto bones. He's scrawny, but he's been working out in this film. There are some very classic 80s gender politics where he acts like an aggressive, needy jerk and she immediately falls in love with him.
It's a simpler time, isn't it?
Yeah. Although there is a oddly... this is kind of a well-regarded film, and it's almost entirely down to their chemistry because there's like a love scene which was weirdly un-Hollywoody, where like the saxophone is playing and it's the first time he's managed to. She's always like, no, I'm not interested. We can't do it. I'm a professional. And she finally kind of gives in and goes back to his apartment, and they've got the saxophone playing and the candles are lit. And then it's just as they're kind of taking their clothes off, then she decides she's too nervous, and he's like then trying to talk her into it, and then the phone rings, and then it doesn't happen. And I don't know if they like going for an idea of like she's so innocent and good that she's like a virgin or something, but it just didn't play out in the way that I was like, immediately thinking, right, this is the scene where they're going to get it on. It didn't play out that way. And there's a number of scenes like that where you think you've got the measure of it, and then it kind of flips things around a little bit, which was quite refreshing. But it is tonally weird. It's like half cop thriller, half drama, half romance, half morality tale. That's a lot of halves. And it also has a
as Laszlo died again.
In the middle where have I gone again? Sorry?
You did die for a second. Your internet connection. Remind me to shove it up my arse next time I see you.
Yeah. What did you hear me say?
I heard you say, it was like I was skipping the cutscenes of Mafia 3. No, it wasn't that
That's
bad.
That's what I was saying. I dropped into Klingon.
Scat. No, it was only for the last 10 seconds. I jest.
Okay. So I was saying that it's like part cop thriller, part drama, part romance, part morality tale. And then there's a whole section in the middle where it's a courtroom drama. It's weird, but there are lots of funny bits.
Death comes to us all. Hopefully me fucking first.
There's a scene where so they have finally slept together, and then she wakes up in the morning and she's just wearing a sheet, and he's like looking in the fridge, wearing a pair of jeans and looking all buff.
Oh, really?
Slides up behind him. Instead of just like grabbing his arse, she literally sort of jams her hand between his legs, and then he spins around, and it's not him, it's Dennis Quaid's.
The name Brad Fiedel does actually ring a bell to me. While Davis, listeners, Dave has Laszlo has got an internet issue at the moment, so we're gonna pretend he's dead for a bit. I think he's done a fair old amount of. He's actually dropped offline now as well, so we can talk about Brad Fiedel for a bit. So the Terminator Theory, he's done a lot of work in movies. Just looking at his Blue Steel with Jamie Lee Curtis, good. Striking Distance. Has he passed away? Because he stopped in 1999. No, he just retired. That's good.
That's probably when people started demanding actual orchestras in their music, I suppose.
Yeah, he went, whoa, and pointed at his Roland D50. He did Gladiator, not that one. Here we go.
I suppose we might as well move on to another one then, if.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was going to say, are you up for carrying on till like 20 past tonight? Is that feasible?
I think I can probably do. I've probably got a couple more. I can.
Yeah, I'm up for it. What I'll do then, I'll just quickly, I'll quickly talk about because I was going to do one with Laszlo because I know he's seen Knives Out, so I'll talk about a Haunting in Venice quickly.
Sure.
We after watching Knives Out, we sort of Faye went through a phase of fancying sort of like classic sort of comedy sort of whodunits, and we watched one called See How They Run. I'll do a doubler actually while Laszlo's getting back online. We watched See How They Run straight after we watched Knives Out 3, just a TMT, and it had Sam Rockwell and Saoirse Ronan in it, and it was kind of. It was. Do you know how Knives Out? And I understand from our mutual friend Alex as well that it runs a fine line where it's quite self-indulgent. The Knives Out sort of series, and if you aren't on board with the sort of colourful, sort of zany characters, it can be grating, right? See How They Run is just grating, and I love Sam Rockwell, but it's a meta play on Agatha Christie's The Mousetrap. And these murders are going on to sort of reflect the mousetrap, and the problem is that it's too sort of self-indulgent, and by the time it sort of starts to wrap itself up, I just thought I'm just fed up of these characters and these bright colors and the silliness. It's gone overboard for me. It could have been that I was a bit burned out, but so I kind of enjoyed it as a comedy mystery, but yeah, the other one, going on to what I was originally going to say, pardon me, of A Haunting in Venice is this is the third of the Kenneth Branagh Agatha Christie films, and there was like I think it was oh god, the Murder on the Orient Express, Death on the Nile, and Haunting of Venice. Years ago. We watched Murder on the Orient Express and kind of enjoyed it, and we've leapt straight into this one. And it's a darker sort of take where Hercule Poirot is sort of questioning his own sanity in some aspects. It's set in Venice in a very horrible, waterlogged house involving like the deaths of children and dodgy doctors. And whilst it does, like, this is just a quick TMT while I can see that Laszlo's back online now. While it does wrap itself up, and it ends in a sort of breezy, bright, what I've come to think of as a Netflixy way. That's something about the vibrancy of the visuals. It's got Tina Fey, Jamie Dornan, and various people in it, Michelle Yeoh. It's quite dark, and it does. There are moments when I thought, it's got to the point with these whodunits where you realise you'll never work it out, because for a start you need to pause the film and actually have time to breathe it in. And I think a lot of the tricks that these films use is just to keep moving at such a pace you can't possibly work it out. You've got no time to sit with anything, so you have to just ride along with it, which is, I think, another reason why a lot of people dislike this sort of genre. It is dark, and it does go to some very dark places, and I thought, actually, this was refreshing after See How They Run, which was after Knives Out 3. It was a step too far in terms of silliness. Laszlo, are you back, babe?
Yes, I am. For as long as the internet allows.
we covered up for you. We talked about Brad Fiegel's music, and I quickly squeezed in 2 reviews. Are we okay? We're gonna go until about 20 past. Are you okay for us to just get Knives Out 3 out of the way, because we've both seen it quickly?
Yeah.
Please do.
Do I finish the Big Easy or not?
Yeah, let's round off the Big Easy.
I did have an amusing fridge tale to mention.
Yes, well, that's the most important part of the podcast.
I don't know where I got a cut off, for fuck's sake. But anyway, there is a bit where Ellen Barkin wakes up, and after post-coital, and she's like walking around the house just wearing a sheet, and she finds Dennis Quaid like looking in the fridge just wearing jeans with his back to her, and he's sort of all buff as he is, and instead of just like patting him on the backside, she like full on jams her hand between his legs, and he like screams and spins around, and it's not him, it's his brother who has been sleeping on the couch. And so she's like absolutely horrified, and he's kind of like, he doesn't know what the hell to make of it, and she just runs out of the house screaming, kind of thing. Anyway, there's a number of scenes in this film which were very funny like that. But yeah, it's worth a watch anyway. There's some fun twists. It is weird that all the action kind of takes place off screen in order to retain a twist. So you often have people coming in and telling you somebody you haven't met has been killed in a fire and somebody got shot and things. But it's worth it for Quaid and Barkin's chemistry.
Where was this streaming? Because I will watch this.
I watched this on Prime. Surprisingly.
Nice. Good. Oh, Prime, that's good. Yeah, okay, that's nice. And it was the Big Easy.
The Big Easy, yeah.
And it wasn't about your mum.
Not this time.
Not putting on an accent. Not this time, but it will be. Cool. Okay then. I don't even know what the title for this. I've just written it as Knives Out 3 in my notes. But do you want to take lead on this one, Laz?
Oh yeah, sure. Wake Up Dead Man.
Cool.
It's called
A Knives Out Mystery. Yes, Wake Up Dead Man, A Knives Out Mystery. Yeah.
I didn't make an awful lot of notes on this one because it's like I found it to be better than the second one, and maybe inferior to the first one, but a solid whodunit mystery. That it's kind of an odd one because it's quite long, probably overindulgently long, but what I feel like could have been trimmed down or should have been trimmed down was like the opening 45 minutes, because Benoit Blanc doesn't turn up for about 45 minutes, and it's all kind of a preamble to who is being murdered in the first 40 odd minutes. And that would probably normally be like your opening 10, 15 minutes, and then you'd have the film about figuring it out. But that first 45 minutes for me was probably the best bit of the film, where Josh Brolin is just chewing the scenery and being a prick to Josh O'Connor. So so I enjoyed that bit the most, and then the mystery itself was convoluted to a point where I was just like Nick and I were watching it and trying to guess who did what, and we were making little notes saying, I reckon it's this, and neither of us were right on any score. We were completely off the mark. So I guess that's good, but at the same time, I challenge anyone to be able to predict the details because it was ridiculous.
Your internet,
oh my God.
Laszlo, it's so interesting to me. It's so interesting. I might study it. I might go to university and have a thesis on your internet connection, actually. Luckily, you're not involved in a movie podcast, so that's fine.
What our viewers will never know is the length of debate and discussion that went into which service provider we went for. And we've gone for the worst one there is possible on planet Earth, it seems.
Rupert's dad's phone.
Yeah. How long is the string to the end of the cup? Is it like a few meters, or is it like feet, or?
Yeah.
But no. No, I sort of agree with you. You're right. I think you hit the nail on the head with it. The second one was, the thing is, for Faye and I, this has become almost like a sort of biannual thing, because we like whodunits, and Ben LeBlanc is such a fun character, and like a lot of the fun in this film comes from his sort of exasperation at other people as he's trying to solve the case, and just like casual things like long phone calls, and he's like, "Can we wrap this up so we can solve the murder mystery?" And you know that he's just going to nail it. And I was saying when you were trying to hang yourself with your internet connection issues to Rupert, that that these films move in such a way that it's so fast paced, you're never going to solve it. Or you'll never get all the ins and outs of it because it's too fast paced. But I think that's kind of the fun of it, is just seeing how it all lands. And it's got to the point now. This is the third in the series where just you've got Jeremy Renner, Mila Kunis, Josh Brolin, and Thomas Hayden Church. Good, again, a throwback to Sideways. I really like Josh O'Connor in this. He came across as a sort of more sensitive blend of like James Franco, and who was the one who was in Rock and Roller? Toby Kebbell. That kind of thing, like a very sort of, there's something very British, there's something of the sort of failed hard man in him that comes across that I really liked. So yeah, and I really I did enjoy this, and I like getting sort of caught up in it and just seeing where it was all going to go. And there were certain scenes that really tickled me, like Andrew Scott when they said he's built a moat around his house, and then I was thinking this. They say, "Oh yeah, he's lost his mind." They said he's built a moat around his house, and Josh Connor's like, "Really?" And then at least, well, it's less of a moat, and then it cuts to what's actually happening. He's just drinking in his garden when he's like dug a ditch, and he's like sort of drinking, like lazily holding a hose in a ditch, and that kind of thing tickled me. But I realized like the set dressing for that like 3-second scene, which did really tickle me. It must have taken like days to set. So there was something about the house thinking, God, there's a lot of effort here. So yeah, it was. I like it, and I think I'll just kind of, unless they really put a foot wrong. I like the fact that every couple of Christmases we get a murder mystery. It kind of like you said with Love Actually. It's not a Christmas film. Was it Love Actually? It's not a Christmas film. These aren't Christmas films, but I think of them in Christmas terminology. Like, oh, it's Christmas, so we'll get a Rian Johnson film, and I know I'm going to have a bottle of wine and a bit of fun with it. So I did enjoy it. But yeah, it's better because the second one was just full of hateful characters. And like it was like the murder was kind of solved within the first 10 minutes, and then it was just people dicking around for an hour and a half. But I realised time is getting on, and Rupert, I know you've said you had a couple more to get through, so I'll take off my shoe, and then the mouse in it can whisper to you.
Yeah, let's do another A24, shall we?
Please.
I watched Warfare.
Is that war as in like guns and bullets, or like wow, like you've seen a burner?
Well, you may find out after I explain the plot of this movie.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely a spiritual successor to Benny Hill. It's a 2025 movie. Is it really 2025? I think it is. co-directed by Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza, who's a former Navy SEAL. And it's based on a true encounter in 2006 during the Battle of Ramadi in Iraq. And the soldiers, it's based on the testimonials of these soldiers, but they're basically performing Overwatch on a market from this house. And then their house comes under attack from Iraqi militants. And in real time, the film shows like the US soldiers' efforts to escape the building and just get the fuck out of there, really. It's very raw and hellish, and it's scary, and it's just kind of politically neutral, really. And it technically is a real masterwork. And given what it's trying to achieve, which is kind of to show the realism of modern combat, I feel it's a little bit immune to normal criticism. Because if I say it's like, oh, it's a bit repetitive or limited in scope, then it's like, well, that is the reality of a bunch of dudes trying to escape a house without getting shot or blown up. And if I were to say, like, oh, the characters are a little bit homogenous, well, that's probably more accurate than other portrayals where you get colourful characters standing out in the chaos of war. So it really is stripped back. And, you know, you got other true combat movies like Saving Private Ryan and Black Hawk Down or All Quiet on the Western Front. And they tend to depict some elements of the broader war being fought, but this is just like pure war fighting, pure survival. It's a bit of a ensemble cast of up and comers, really. It's got Will Poulter, it's got Joseph Quinn, it's got Kit Connor, Cosmo Jarvis. So basically a bunch of British actors, really, and they do a good job. Essentially, either taking or giving orders or screaming in pain. Joseph Quinn has a really tough time in this film. I think these films are important, I guess, for reminding us of the reality of war fighting and the complete lack of glory or real justice involved, and it's hell on earth, and it reminds us that we really just don't want to go to war at all. It's hard to recommend exactly as a kind of fun time. In terms of ultra-realistic combat movies, it based around that period, I still think Lone Survivor is the more enjoyable movie, if you can call it that. But this is definitely authentic and amazingly well made. And for those interested in makeup effects, then it's probably almost certainly one to watch.
Do they put like clown makeup and stuff on at some point?
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Detailed Halloween costumes.
A bit of blush and a bit of eyeliner.
I know you say that Joseph Quinn has a rough time in this film, but at one point, does anyone take his helmet off and say, "Fuck me, you look like Mark Zuckerberg"? Because if you go to his Wikipedia page, hey, come on, meet me halfway, boys. But yeah, this is one of those films. Like again, I could entice Fane into watching it. I'm not one for war films, but again, this is a common question on the podcast. Will it make me cry, Rupert?
No.
Okay.
Because it's too just brutal and unsentimental, really. And I mean, it's through exhaustion it might make you cry.
Okay.
I didn't realize so many famous like up and comers were in this thing. Like they really haven't. I guess you just when they're all wearing the same outfit and they're all covered in mud and blood, you can't really tell who's who anyway. But I did, you'd think they would pitch that as a selling point, but I feel like they didn't. This like did badly, didn't it?
I don't think it,
financially,
business.
and it's been on Prime for ages, and I just kind of sit there and go, it's on my list, but I'm just like, I'll watch it at some point. I don't know.
It's a bit more of an because it's not really a narrative movie; it's an experience movie, isn't it? I guess
Perfect for streaming then. On my phone,
it's definitely 240p. It's worth a watch, but it's not one you just slap on and for a laugh.
Is there a reason it's got two, like Ray Mendoza and Alex Garland, or do they just share the writing and directing credits?
Well, obviously Alex Garland is the established director. I think probably it's because I'm not sure if Ray Mendoza is more like a consultant, but he was so heavily involved that
Oh, right, yeah, yes, former Navy
he
SEAL,
was
yeah.
probably directing them and how to move and stuff. So maybe he was just so heavily involved that he got co-director credit.
That's cool. That's really cool.
There's a really depressive. At the end of these things, they'll have like pictures of the real people, real soldiers, sort of thing, next to the actor, and like half of them just don't have legs or are just dead. It's like, wow, okay. It's not a knee slapper.
You're not enormously twisting my arm into finally watching this one. I fear it may sit on the watch list forever.
Yeah. I won't lie to you. It is very much as you'd imagine it to be.
Should we do this at some point? Like, I imagine you guys, same as me, have lengthy watch lists, and then you look at them, and some of those films have been on there forever and will be on there forever, unless we decide to finally watch those films. You make a point of doing it.
That's a good one.
Ideally, the one that's been on there the longest.
A watch list episode.
Maybe I'll finally watch. What was that one? War something with Brad Pitt on Netflix. War Machine.
Oh God.
That's been on my watch list since it came out.
I don't have watch lists. I just sort of scroll until I stop pissing myself off, and then select Blood for State. So yeah, I'll happily do that. But yeah,
that's probably better than having
it. They just get bigger and bigger though, because I swear, I'm not sure it's the same on all streaming services, but most of them it doesn't take it off the watch list if you actually watch the motherfucking thing.
No.
It just sits there. So, what do you think watch list is for?
Shall we quickly squeeze in another one each in a desperate attempt to catch up? And then I just realised that in this character's called Sam and Elliot, so there's Sam Elliot in that film, Rupert. Shall we have one each to catch up, and then reconvene in 2 weeks, and we'll move on to the Arkins now?
I think I could probably save mine, to be honest, because I've only got a couple.
Okay. Do you want to squeeze it? Leslie, you've always got 1,000 films. Do you want to?
I've got some spare.
Go on, jump in there, babe.
Although we've killed a good chunk of them, actually. Right. So what have I got left? Jurassic World Rebirth. Do I want to talk about that? Christ.
I think we might want to get out of the way.
Boring dinosaurs. I'm tempted to skip over that and talk about a worse film by a mile that at least was sort of meatily shit. The Old Guard 2. Jesus Christ.
Oh, is this the one with Charlize Theron?
Yes. So this has been on my watch list again since it came out, but it's at least came out in the last year. Charlize Theron and her immortal friends return in a ponderous sequel to the original that I can't even really remember, other than it was basically a rip-off of Highlander, and the only real difference was instead of the immortals all killing each other, they kind of hung out with each other and were kind of like a team of operatives who do dangerous missions because they're invincible. I think that was it. I can't really remember.
I'm the same as you. I remember not minding it, but I really can't remember a single thing about it.
Yeah, it was completely just a functional Netflix programmer kind of thing. So anyway, they're back. And they quite wisely at the beginning of this, for everyone who saw the first one who cannot remember what happened, like us, it kind of doesn't have a recap, but they just remind you in the opening action scene of important details, like Charlize Theron nearly gets shot and somebody pulls her back and goes, whoa, 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 careful, remember, you're no longer immortal. And you're like going, oh, okay, I didn't remember that, but now I do know that. That's good.
So haven't they taken away the only interesting thing about the film, though? Well,
I think it's only her. Like at at the beginning, she spoiler alert, she gets it back. But that must have happened at the end of the first one. Don't remember. Anyway, so there's a possible kind of action scene at the beginning, but then it's like the whole film slams the brakes on, and it takes forever to do anything. It's like it's one of those films where they have a number of action scenes where friends fight each other, like in sparring, to up the action quotient because there's no conflict, there's nothing happening. So they're like, all right, we need to have a sword fight that we can put in the trailer. So we'll just have two friends train with each other and do flips and stuff. And they're all invincible, so you don't like. There's no stakes at all. They can't even accidentally kill each other. But then there's like an old ally of Charlize Theron's from 1,000 years ago who's been now fished out of the ocean, and for most of the film they're trying to reconnect. And then I think it was almost exactly on 1 hour that she finally decides that she's actually going to be a baddie. That's how it's like a whole hour of treading water to get to this point. And then they just raid a military facility, and you're like, why there? What are they getting out of this? Don't know. Doesn't matter. No one gives a fuck. And also, what's amazing about it is that she's been in like at the bottom of the ocean for 1,000 years, and yet has no language barriers with anyone. She just speaks fluent, perfect English. She's driving a van straight away and operating like doors with like complicated electronic lock mechanisms and building bombs. I was like, hang on.
Is the van is it a manual or automatic or what?
Well, in fairness, she uses it as like a battering ram. So maybe they just like ran her through the basics of how to drive a truck straight and smash it through a gate. I don't know. Either way, I think this whole thing would be quite bewildering for her. But anyway, she doesn't have too much, and she's invincible anyway, so she can keep fucking up as long as she wants, I suppose. No, but the whole thing is so lazy and so lame. It's almost brilliant because it's so bad. It's not a bad film. It's awful. It's just remarkably cynical and lazy. Anyway, ignoring that woman, Uma Thurman is in this, and she's been in all the promo stuff for it. And they're trying to channel her kind of Kill Bill kind of cred with a sword. Right. But she is in it for about 10 minutes and turns up at the end to have a sword fight with Uma Thurman. And it's not good. It's like one of those things where they're going, we're going to do all our own stunts. And then you look at it and you go, well, so then it's a bit slow and cumbersome. And she's hammed it up so much, it reminded me more of Poison Ivy than Kill Bill, which I don't think was the intention. Wow. And then to cap it all off, after this fucking 2 hours of crap, it has a complete cliffhanger where she just escapes, and the team are captured, and you're like, oh my god, there's going to be a third one of this.
Jesus Christ. This is going to be the least required trilogy in movie history, surely.
Yeah. No one asked for it. And yet,
oh my god.
I'd be astounded if they make a third one, because this is so rubbish. There's nothing to this.
It's got the worst poster I've ever seen, I think.
Was it the Old Guard too?
It's probably entirely appropriate to the film.
It's like, what have they done? They've just slapped a load of stickers on a piece of paper.
Oh, yeah. It tells you nothing.
Why is... You see it with like Chiwetel Ejiofor like at an angle at the bottom.
Yeah, it's just that.
God, I forgot he was even in it.
Oh my god, that's dreadful. That is awful. Is that Chris Evans at the top, or
no?
Or is that Andrew Lincoln? I don't know who that is.
It's a forehead.
Chiwetel Ejiofor is literally that's a different
It's like he's lying down.
What's in the front? Is that? It looks like is it been folded up, or is that someone's shoulder on the front, on the bottom left? What is that? Is that a jacket?
I don't know.
Can you see what I mean?
What are we looking?
Yeah.
So go to. I just typed in the Old Guard. Old Guard. It's on Wikipedia, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, because
Anyway, it's astonishing photoshopping. I don't know what they're doing.
Oh, look, I was looking at another poster, which is even worse. Oh, shit. Yeah, because honestly, if you type in that, you have to do this. Just type in the Old Guard 2, and the picture comes. It's like mostly white.
Oh yeah,
With
yeah.
like, click on that to make it larger, right? Twice, and you've got Chiwetel is literally. Look at that! Look at the coloring on him.
Oh my God.
That is a poster that's been cropped because that is the shoulder at the front, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got to be what's it?
Charlize
Theron's
Theron.
shoulder. They've just chopped her out.
I thought you were talking about that. So all the posters are bad for this film. That's fantastic. Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
I'm not going to watch this film.
Yeah, don't. No one watch this, because if you watch it, you'll just encourage them.
Oh my God, that's really disappointing. And I think that's the perfect way to end the podcast. Jesus Christ!
At least my internet didn't cut out that time.
That's true.
Thank God it let me. That's
got to be that. When you were talking, when you said it ends on a cliffhanger, I thought I vaguely remember the first one. Same as you were like, it's nothing. It's a nothing film. It's like if you said, "Oh, they're making a trilogy out of Dead Man's Curve with Matthew Lillard." Speaking of which, we move on to the Arkansas. So the Arkansas for last episode was Matthew Lillard to Paul Dano. Do you two want to do yours first?
Yeah, I didn't do very well with this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Okay. Matthew Lillard is in Scream with Liev Schreiber, who is in X-Men Origins, I think, with Hugh Jackman.
Mm-hmm.
Hugh Jackman is in X-Men First Class and probably other ones with Michael Fassbender. And Michael Fassbender is in 12 Years a Slave with Paul Dano. So it's a 4-stepper, I think.
That's not too bad. That's not too bad.
There's no shame in that, because I've got a 4-stepper as well.
I don't think he's in the original Scream with him, though. I think it's like Scream 3 or 4 or something.
Oh, is he?
See, it's Rupert cheating.
They're in the first one together, aren't they?
Are they? I don't remember. I watched all the Scream films a few months ago, but even I can't remember.
Who did you link him with?
Lillard and Liev Schreiber.
Oh yeah, no, he's Cotton Weary, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's in the first one.
Oh, that's right, the one who supposedly killed the mum. Yeah, you are right. He comes back in like the fourth one. Sorry,
yes. So I got a 4-step as well. Matthew Lillard was in Scooby-Doo with Linda Cardellini, who was in Avengers: Age of Ultron with Mark Ruffalo, who was in Mickey 17 with Robert Pattinson, who was in The Batman with Paul Dano.
Oh, beautifully done. So 2 4-steppers from us as a team. We had Max, who said that Matthew Lillard's in Scream with Skeet Ulrich, who plays the life model robber in As Good as It Gets with sexy Greg Kinnear, who's in Little Miss Sunshine with Paul Dano. So it's a 3-stepper.
What the? He looked that up. Max has never watched As Good as It Gets.
I've seen that film about 7 or 8 times. I used to like that film.
Sure, I remember Skeet Ulrich being in it.
Remember he being greasy. He said, not the route I expected, given the names linked to Dano, Pitt and Willis for a start. Ed Wellman said Matthew Lillard had an uncredited cameo in Scream 2 with Timothy Olyphant, who was in Girl Next Door with Paul Dano.
Wow.
So that's a 2. That's a 2-y. Yes, a 2-y.
Do these people know you're not allowed to look on IMDb to get these answers?
As soon as someone mentions uncredited cameo, I'm thinking... I remember him having an uncredited cameo.
What was that one that like Utah Smith said about like there was like someone was it who was the woman from Megan Fox had like like a dancing credit in like some early Tom Cruise film or something. Anyway, Dave Chard. Matthew Lillard was in Life of Chuck with Mark Hamill, who was in Star Wars Episode 4 with Harrison Ford, who was in Cowboys and Aliens with Paul Dano. Cowboys and Aliens. That is a film that no one thinks about unless they get the royalty check through. And as usual, Utah Smith has sent me a starred message. I haven't listened to this, so I do apologize if there's any bad language.
Matthew Lillard was in Hackers with Miss Angelina Jolie, who I'm pretty sure was in a film in the 2000s with a creepy killer, and I'm pretty sure Paul Dano was in it. Can't remember the name, can't remember anything, but as far as I got so far.
Not a winner from Todd Smith.
Well, he's one.
He was thinking about taking lives, by the way, with Ethan Hawke. I think that's where he was going with that.
It's like I assume he was in something.
Yeah, the movie Assumptions review. I love that. I love someone like you. Like it'd be like me reviewing Star Wars. Like I there's a hairy bloke in it. I actually did watch Star Wars this time. I haven't got time to cover it. But so should we set the Arkansas for next time?
Oh yeah. Ooh.
And congratulations to Ed, by the way. Oh, that's a good one. Good old Danny Quaid.
To
Don the Dragon Wilson.
Jesus Christ. Be done.
How about Dennis Quaid to Daniel Craig?
That's nice. Near rhymes.
It's alliterative. That's nice.
Nice.
Okay. Quaid to Craig.
Do you know what? It's so funny, the films I talked about this week and what I've actually got to cover next week. There's just much better budget films.
What's the films of the week? Mine is The Holdovers.
Phase was retroactive. I would say, obviously, Knives Out 3 is a big film, but I'm going to say that I really enjoyed Blood Fist 7.
I'll go with The Big Easy.
I'm going to watch The Big Easy with my eyes and my feet. So, yeah, like I said, this. If you want to email us, it's the thank you for listening. It's the Meta Talk, my ass. It's kinokingdom@protonmail.com, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. This 2026 resolution is to come back fortnightly, but we're going to end the episode as we do with every episode, as Laszlo knows. We all close our eyes, put our arms and legs straight out in front of us, and magazine rock our fingers and toes, and try to insert ourselves up our own bums.